And hello, Simon here with another Simon Says Sci-Fi, and this is for The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. All very exciting, and the topic today, and I will read it out because it's partly what somebody has asked, is what is Voyager telling us? What is Voyager telling us? Okay. This week we saw the 52nd anniversary of Neil Armstrong taking his small step for a man and giant leap for mankind. I can't believe it was 52 years ago. I remember it totally. And the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS had the privilege of interviewing Kevin McNally. And during the conversation, Kevin sort of mentioned that he watched the landing and Neil Armstrong taking his step at 2 o'clock in the morning from the UK in 1969, and it hooked him totally, and he watched it from a box television in his bedroom. And throughout the conversation, we soon realised that Kevin McNally is admittedly a geek, and he thoroughly enjoys it. And he visited NASA recently, and he had the privilege of watching and observing and listening to beeps and other things coming from things out in space that we've sent out and come back. And he thoroughly enjoyed it all, and just before he was leaving he heard another beep which he hadn't heard before, and when he asked about it they said, "Oh, that beep is coming from Voyager." And of course Kevin thought this was absolutely fantastic. And apparently Voyager, which has now left our solar system and is travelling deeper and deeper into space, sends back every 3 hours some sort of information. And that still goes on and will continue so until Voyager expires, I suppose. But it's very, very fascinating. Coincidentally, over here in the UK, within the last couple of weeks, we got the news that the British government have given America permission to build a space system in the UK so that it can explore deeper and deeper into space. Now, are these just coincidences? If so, what is it that Voyager has seen? Has that inspired what they want to do? Very curious. And of course, for the conspirators, there's a wonderful food of fodder. Now, as we know, planet Earth is currently going through all sorts of extreme weather patterns, as well as the pandemic and economic melee. But the extreme changes in weather patterns, I think, cannot be easily put down to global warming all the time. Some suggest that I'm wrong, and that it is. These extremes are down to global warming and the pollution of the planet. In the UK, we used to suffer badly from what is called smog. Fog, thick, dense fog, filled with industrial pollutants. And in 1956, the British government of the day introduced the Clean Air Act, and by 1958, smogs had disappeared. And also we've noted during the current lockdowns during COVID that the cities, particularly in the UK, have cleaner air than they've had in many, many years. Now what these two exercises sort of prove is that we, humans, have an effect on our environment and the atmosphere. We chuck out pollutants here, there and everywhere. But also what it proves is that given a chance, dear Mother Earth can clean herself up quite quickly. And in my viewpoint, should be given a chance. So then we come to the term global warming, which is thrown around all the time. And I think that we need a clarification of the term and its actual meaning. Many blame our polluting habits, but I don't think it's that simple. And the reason I say this is historically and geologically, when we look at the data, our weather patterns have changed quite dramatically, even before Homo sapiens were actually on the planet. And a lot of these changes are caused by natural things. So, for example, I could say that 2,000 years or so ago, the Romans occupied Britain, and the climate was very calm and very mild, very much like it is in the south of France and Italy today. And the Romans grew many grapes and other vegetation that can grow in mild climates. But then in the Middle Ages, which is what, I don't know, about circa 1100, 1500, between then, somebody correct me if they wish, but the Middle Ages, we were quite a frozen island. It was bitterly cold, and it took a long time to warm up. And also later, in the 1800s, the Thames in London regularly froze over. So geologically and historically, there have been some sort of changes in our weather patterns. And then if we look at Galileo, poor man, and there was another chap called Thomas Harriot. They were the first to record sunspots. And these sunspots flare up, and they do have an effect on planet Earth. But what has been discovered over time, that they're on a cycle. They're sort of on an 11, 22-year cycle, and some have suggested recently there's even a 300-year cycle. So the sun has effect on our planet as well. And we mustn't forget that the Earth's natural structure is changing all the time. The continental shelves are moving due to volcanic activity, and we're all gradually moving to different parts of the Earth. Very slowly, of course, but it's all happening, and that can have an effect. So not everything is down to just us. And I say to those who disagree with me, discuss. What else can I say? Yes, Mother Earth can easily clean herself up, but we must help her. Most living creatures rely on oxygen, and oxygen is produced through the process of photosynthesis, and disturb the equilibrium at any time, and we're doomed. I hope. Well, that doesn't sound too dramatic. So I say stop talking about global warming and that we should concentrate more on how to live with the changes that we're going through. And we are going through it, and we need to learn how to do it. Now, to do that, I think we're going to need a lot more energy. And we need to develop clean energy, and lots and lots and lots of it. My grandfather, I recall, used to say that for us to advance, we need to have a different type of energy, which will either invent or discover, or someone will give it to us. And I've often thought, did he believe in first contact and the possibility of aliens coming and visiting us and helping us out? Oh dear. But also, we should note that 15 years or so in the New Scientist and other reputable periodicals, there was discussion about cleaning up nuclear waste. And apparently all the theory was there, and it just needed a bit more money put into practicalities. But basically, nuclear fuel can be cleaned up, and so that what's left is a micro fraction of what's produced today. The downside of that for politicians and industrialists is that there's a huge amount of energy that it'll just have to be given away. So you can imagine that'll give a few ulcers to a few people. But also, at the same time, there were soundings about harnessing meteorites and bringing them into orbit and mining them for their precious minerals. All sounds very sci-fi, but I think we are living in a period where all the sci-fi imaginings are actually coming to reality. We mustn't let these things fall on deaf ears, and we must understand more about how we all connect with the planet and everything else. For those who cry that it's too expensive, I just say, just remember you making that cry and not doing anything when a meteorite the size of another planet is heading towards us and we have no technology to deal with it. What can I say now? Because I know people are going to get really upset. But these beeps from Voyager must be sending back all sorts of things. And the development of space systems means that somewhere along the line people are taking what information they're getting. So what is it that Voyager has spotted? What is it that's out there? Is it something like a meteor, or is it bringing us knowledge and fresh hope? I would just mull that over for a while.